money anymore.
All right, here's the
Which
thing.
was the last building? You
Oh, you're still
recognize
going.
those buildings. Okay, they have tall doors because the Tartarian or whatever you call them. Okay, they were giants.
Sorry, what the fuck did you just say to me?
Yeah, the Tartarian apparently they were giant, like 9 feet tall giants. You are aware of that?
It's so.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE, welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Disney did to Star Wars. Really, guys, a lightsaber whip? Sort your fucking shit out, please. Today we're going to have a Flat Earth adjacent conversation with Nathan Erickson, who has been on the channel before. Let's bring him on to say hi. Hello Nathan, how are you doing?
Hello, doing quite well, especially to be here. So thank you very much for having me, Craig. Hope the same is on your end. So
thank you. If everyone in the chat, just let me know if audio is good, if I need to turn anyone up or down, that would be appreciated. So the discussion today is going to be around whether the Bible is a flat earth book, and then whether those things the Bible says, if they are about flat earth, how they relate to reality. I hold the position that the Bible isn't a flat earth book, that it's a book written by sheep herders several thousand years ago who had no idea about the cosmology of the universe or the shape of the earth. So there is literally no way it could have been a book about flat earth. So why don't you just take a minute to, first of all, introduce yourself and then explain why you think it's a flat earth book, and maybe we can talk about any specific points.
yeah, definitely. Real quick, I want to just start out. So internet connection right now, I'm actually having to use my phone. So I am, my battery is a decent battery. I'm at like 56% right now. So I'll do what I can here. And I will just say to, anyone who does have criticisms of the Bible or anything, any even like non necessarily flat earth topics, but if you have contentions or scrutiny, please feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to have a discussion about it. I'll talk with you and everything, because there's a lot that the book covers, and I really do feel the Bible is a very important book. I feel that it is a book of a all-loving, all-capable creator who made us in a world with no death, with no sorrow. And when we chose to take on evil, knowledge of evil, and then ultimately act on evil, evil came into the world, which God knew would cause a lot of suffering. And he did send his son, Jesus Christ, to go through a life in which prophecy was fulfilled. He forgave all, he paid the atonement for all of mankind's sins, all of the evil that we brought into the world, to be forgiven so that we can have an eternal life with all of our loved ones, all of our relatives, our friends, our family, and our loving Creator, who does love us, who made us all specially in his image, uniquely how we are. And so we are all very special. And I do believe that the Bible is entirely a flat earth book out of necessity, actually. And so I guess to start, I do think that the Bible has to be a flat earth book because and Craig, if I'm, roughly speaking, we'll just say the globe was about 500 BC, was kind of when it got into some academic circles of more established ancient cultures, and could kind of spread from there through writing and oral and everything, tradition. So that's kind of when the globe started, was conceived and formed and spread. And even I believe secularly, it's predates 500 BC easily by thousands of years. So the Bible has to be, if the globe wasn't around, the only, and even how we are taught through our educational system, ancient cultures being flat earth cultures, if you didn't know of the globe and the flat earth was what all cultures around you and everything that were viewing the earth, that would be how the biblical authors, who were men and I believe inspired by the Holy Spirit, they would be authoring according to their worldview. And thus the Bible uses terminology that references a stationary, established earth that does not move. And there is reference and terminology which is even used today colloquially in terms of like sunsets and sunrises. And so those are referencing motion of the sky, which is what we observe and as our senses, and via relativity, our experiments show a stationary earth. And so I feel with if the Bible were to be true, the inspirations of prophets would have to be true as well. So when and what their ability, what they were able to accomplish, has to be true. And so when Joshua asked that the sun stop moving, he should, if the Bible was, if the earth was a globe and the Bible could work with a globe, and he was inspired by an all-knowing creator, it would be logical that the creator would have him say what is logical. So he would say, earth stop turning, so that the sun would appear to stop. And then later on, once the science of man caught up,
yeah, but surely that's just about like interpretation.
We would have once science caught up, it would be divine revelation. We could say, oh, the Bible was referencing a globe back then. Here's how it still works today with our newest discoveries in science being a heliocentric Copernican model. What was that, Craig?
No, it's just, I mean, a lot of the things you said there are kind of interpretation of translations of the Bible and stuff, and you're taking things very, very literally. I kind of have contention with the claim that the globe wasn't really around until 500 BC, so therefore it has to be a flat Earth book. The book was written by people in the Middle East that had never left the Middle East, that had no conception of the world around them. But the ancient Babylonians, around 1000 BC, and the Egyptians knew enough about the sky and its patterns to create remarkably accurate star charts and predictions. And the current consensus among historians is that they had some awareness that the Earth was spherical, especially because their observations required spherical models to calculate things like eclipses. They didn't write the Earth is round in the way we would today, but they used methods that would only make sense with a spherical Earth. So that would be around about the same time that the Bible would be written, and the Babylonians and Egyptians were a center of education and knowledge around that time. So any writings would have understood that the Earth's shape would more likely be a globe. So to make the claim that the writings and scholars of the day said that it was flat, therefore the Bible would be, is wrong and fallacious, because just because a formal written concept of the spherical Earth didn't appear, doesn't mean people would then just assume it was flat. So written records are only a fraction of ancient thoughts, and the absence of early writings about the spherical Earth doesn't mean that it wasn't considered. Just that they didn't have the language to conceptualize the things that made sense in that way.
Okay, yeah, so there was Babylonian, Chaldean cultures were very good with the sky. They had astronomers, and they were able to make these predictions based on cycles. And you can have variations to the shape that you give the sky to work on a flat Earth model. But if when we look at certain histories of cultures, like there are Egyptian and further into Africa for more cultures. If you go into China and into Asia, there are flat Earth. India has flat Earth cultures. In Europe, with the Norse, there are flat Earth cultures. Native Americans,
the
flat
Norse
Earth cultures.
definitely not. No, the Norse had a good understanding of the spherical Earth. Again, their star maps required spherical models. In fact, the Chinese star maps also required spherical models, along with the Indians requiring two hemispherical spherical models. So the claim that they were flat earthers, I think, is just false, because they didn't know the entire Earth, but the maps of the stars that they did use, all of the cultures, required a spherical model to make predictions.
And you can also use cyclical. Cycles are circles when in 2D presentation.
But it wasn't just cycles. They didn't just have cycles that made predictions. They actually had quite complicated models that the models themselves made predictions. And the models all had, even though they weren't based on a sphere Earth, they had a spherical sky map, which would be what we would consider the celestial
like
sphere. It was a spherical sky map, as in it would be a globe movement around them, and it would require a spherical model with the Earth actually having a curve to it for it to make sense. So they didn't map their things based on the Earth being flat. They mapped their knowledge of the sky based on how things moved, and when you do the calculations, it shows from where they were that the ground must have been curved as well. It was all based on spherical models. The assumption that every ancient culture thought the Earth was flat is just a false one.
Well, I think they were flat Earth cultures, and over time they could take on sphere Earth concepts. If
but what do you mean that they were flat Earth?
Was referencing Cyrene and Egypt. That might mean that Greece had some connection to Egypt, and so
when you say they were flat Earth cultures, what do you mean by they were flat Earth cultures? The cultures of those days didn't consider what the shape of the Earth was. That wasn't part of their thought process. So they wouldn't have been people that were flat earthers. They wouldn't have been thinking about the Earth being a plane. That wouldn't have been in their mind.
Okay, so we'll go. So with, say, the cultures that the Bible was written by, the people, the tribes, the Bible isn't necessarily. It's not going to go into detail about the sky and the motions and what the type of light a particular star is or anything. But there are references to the sky and to the Earth in the Bible, and the Bible does, when talking about the ground, because it was their understanding of the Earth at the time, regardless if it was true or not. If the Earth really was a globe and moving, they would be wrong. But their understanding at the time was, we will describe the Earth as established, as resting, as on top of pillars.
See, that's just interpretation. Right, so the usage of the word pillars in particular, the context that it's used in didn't mean physical foundations. It meant as in a foundation. Well, in fact, it literally translated as foundation of society. The original usage of the word pillars that's translated from the Hebrew it's written in. It's not referring to the Earth standing on physical pillars. It's referring to the foundations of society that the earth needs to be built upon. So, you're having literal interpretations of the words in the Bible without looking at the greater context of the words around them and the original context of the words written in. Because, in fact, what was the word that was used? Because I did a bit of research on this earlier.
As you're looking that up, words can have multiple meanings, and so pillars could be foundational in a metaphorical sense as far as how society could be built, which I do believe the Bible has excellent pillars, but also pillars there are, I believe, I actually am not really able to quote scripture very well or anything. I have to look things up and reference, but there is scripture, and I think you could like keyword search. There is scripture that it does in that verse say that the earth is set on pillars so that it does not move. And then also there is the mentioning of the earth looking like a footstool, which is like a flat top with legs so that you put in front of a chair and you can put your feet up.
Yeah,
and
again,
then,
the literal translation of that back in the original Hebrew didn't refer to it as a footstool. It was more of an observation thing that the creator could look upon, which has been translated and then literally used as footstool. But that wasn't the original meaning behind the way that it was written. Plus, the Bible, it contradicts itself when referring to, or at least the modern versions of the Bible, because you can say about God looking down upon the circle of the earth, but at the same time it mentions the four corners of the earth, which would say that the earth was a square. It can't be both. So, you cannot literally take the words literally in the Bible. You have to think about the metaphors behind why they were written, and not just that, the context and the original language and the limitations of that original language upon which it was written, right? Now, just 1 second. I do have quite a lot of super chats ready, so I just want to quickly catch up with them because my supporters are absolutely incredible. Signal Step, $10. The important thing is moral choice. Evil has to exist along with good in order that moral choice may operate. Life is sustained by the grinding opposition of moral entities. Cool.
Can we respond to their comments?
If you like, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so right now in the current world that we live in, there is what most of us, I'm assuming, are good people. We're nice to each other and want the truth and promote science and everything because it's good for society. So right now there is evil, and we do have the current option to be able to choose between good and evil. If people did right now choose good, we have light speed communication technology. We can speak faster than weapons. Our world leaders can too, and could get on live TV, talk about land resources issues, prevent all the violence and everything. But if we were at a point in society where we were choosing peace actively, some like people who are here now, we would have memories of past and times of violence and everything and struggle and hardship. But in the future, when we were in a more paradise setting by man's own choosing of wanting that for us all, we would maybe potentially our offspring, and this would be great for them, they might not even know what evil is because we don't promote it in culture. They never experienced it. And so we have people who might not even, know you can deliberately take a life for no reason or anything. So choice that's.
So you say that originally it was perfect, there was no evil and everything, but then we chose there to be evil. All right, so does God have a plan for everything? Is everything planned out by God, or is that not the case?
God knows everything that will happen.
Right, so he knew that if he gave us the choice, we would choose evil. So he knew that would happen, and he let it happen.
And he still made us.
Right, yeah. Well, doesn't that mean that God is then... God is... The buck stops with God then, because he made us, gave us the choice of evil, knowing we would choose that. So, in fact, it's all God's fault. So God put evil in the world, so God is the creator of evil.
So God... put the tree of good and evil in the garden and told Adam and Eve that they have the whole garden and can do what they want there.
But he knew God knew that that Adam and Eve would go to that tree and eat the apple. He knew that would happen, though, right?
Yes, because he gave them the choice to choose. You can choose to obey,
Well,
or you
yeah,
can
but you keep
choose
saying he gave them the
to do
choice, but
something
it's
else.
not real. It's not really a choice if he knew what was going to happen anyway. He knew
Okay,
that
so
if he gave them the choice, they would choose to eat the apple because God can see the future and see everything that was happening. So if God gave them the choice to choose evil, knowing for a fact that they would choose evil, then God is the creator and allower of evil, even though he could have made it not happen.
I do think that God is aware of the end with to address that statement of him knowing evil and the beginnings, early history of humanity. God also knows the end, and I feel that heaven could be quite populated because God does love us. He knows our heart, and he knows,
If he loves
the
us, why did
decisions we
he
make
why did
and
he
our
create
influence.
evil as a choice?
So, okay, so say, um, say you have your wife, when she tells you, a man with a wife, I won't bring her into it, but
That's cool. I don't mind.
a man who has a wife, and she will tell that man, or the man will tell his wife he loves her. He's choosing to do that. He could choose to go pound bricks. He could choose to go skyscraper bungee jumping. He could go to the club, and he could choose to do all these things, but he has all these options and chooses to say this to his wife, that he loves her. So it's genuine. When we are allowed all options, when we can choose what temptations Satan has to offer, or we can choose
But yeah, but God created
moral.
Satan, right? God, but do you agree that God created evil?
He created man. He created a world for man with no death.
No, no, that wasn't the question. Did God create evil?
He created good. Evil was created on the tree of good and evil.
Well, what does Isaiah 45:71 say?
Isaiah 45:71.
I can quote it to you now if you like.
Yes, please.
From the light and create
Can I just
darkness.
quickly
Yeah.
recommend, if you're gonna give me, I prefer the King James. If you have other translations, that's fine, but I would.
Oh, right. So you
There's some
prefer the one that
technicality,
was changed by a king to make it more. Okay. Anyway, so Isaiah
think it has to do with the
45:71
time
says, "From the
of printing
light
being
and
available."
create darkness, I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things." So thank you, Specs, for pointing that out. So that is God literally saying that He created evil.
So he did well. So evil exists. Yes. So God. Okay. So yeah, in that sense, he did create evil, but there's a caveat to it. He created all things, and evil does exist. Just because evil exists, murderers exist, but we are not, murderers. And so it's there, it's an option, but we don't have to choose those options. So just like how you can choose to worship another
Yeah,
deity or
obviously,
self or
a
anything.
good person isn't going to choose those options. But the point is that God has created some people specifically knowing that those people will choose those options. And God was the one that created evil in the first place as a temptation for us, knowing for a fact that we would choose that temptation over not having the temptation and release evil. Therefore, evil in all of its forms is completely God's fault.
So if man would have never eaten from the tree, we would not even know what evil is, quite literally.
Okay, right.
But now
That's the
there
case,
is
but
evil.
it doesn't stop the point that God made the tree with the apple, knowing for a fact that Adam and Eve would eat the apple, because he knows everything that's going to happen, and he knew for a fact that if he put that apple there, they would eat it, and then evil would be a thing. So God did that,
So
knowing it would happen.
so when God gave Adam and Eve the apple, they could have chosen to never eat the apple, and then what God would have known is that we have never known evil.
Yeah,
But
that's not the
because
point,
they
is
had
it?
free will and were given the choice,
You say
they
free will,
were-
but free will isn't compatible with God knew what was going to happen. Even like,
But that's-
did God know that Adam and Eve would choose the apple?
he did, but he had to give them the
Right.
choice.
But it doesn't matter if he gave them the choice because he knew what they would choose. So the choice is actually irrelevant.
May I ask, if the Bible says that God weeps when he looks upon like the sadness of man, I'm paraphrasing, but he weeps for our sin. When he is sad for us, would
Maybe
he
that's
have wanted
guilt
Adam
rather
and
than
Eve to
sadness.
choose evil?
I would say that's guilt
What's
rather
that?
than sadness, because God is the one that created all that bad shit that's happening. It's all his fault, and maybe he feels guilty about it. Although, no, he's a sociopath, so he probably wouldn't feel guilty, to be honest. The fact is, Nathan, that if God knew what would happen...
That's an accurate statement.
Well, it must be, because if God knew that putting the apple there would cause evil, and he did that, then he is responsible for evil, and everything evil that has ever happened, whilst having the ability to not make it happen. That definitely makes him a sociopath.
Okay, let me try to give this example. Say there is, and racism is very trivial, a division tactic, because we're all human. We're all human beings. But let's say that there is a guy who has beige skin, and he doesn't like anyone who has slightly beiger skin or something like that. Something that neither of them choose at birth. But say that's how they he has this feeling towards. Now, does everyone else who has that skin color as the guy that doesn't like the darker or lighter guy or whatever, are they also responsible for his decisions and actions?
They aren't God. They aren't the one that created everything. That racism that exists is a result of God creating that person racist.
So God gave us free will, and we are able to choose.
I challenge right. Obviously I don't think that God is real, but if God was real and everything that the Bible says and everything, then I challenge the assumption that God gave us free will, because God couldn't have given us free will if God also knew what the outcome was going to be. Those two are not compatible.
Didn't Eve choose to bite the apple?
Yeah, but God knew it was going to happen. God put that there, knowing for a fact that Eve would eat that apple. That's not free will.
Okay, so look at a double-blind science experiment, or a randomized controlled science experiment. There are some people who know what is a certain variable. That doesn't mean that it's influencing others.
Well, of course, influences others. Right, this influences others, though, because
others' decisions.
Yeah, but this particular decision of Eve to bite the apple has influenced everybody else that's ever lived, right? So the fact that evil exists in the world is a result directly of Eve biting that apple. However, Eve biting that apple is a result of God putting it there, knowing 100% certainly that Eve would bite it. Therefore, if God hadn't put that apple there, no evil would have existed. So any evil that exists in the world is God's fault and God's creation and God's responsibility. The buck stops with God.
If all of that is God's responsibility, how does that isn't that conflictory to God's actual intent and original purpose and design for man, where he had none
Sounds
of that?
like God's a bit of a liar
and
sounds like God's a bit of a liar and a contradiction maker, because he says things and does the opposite. Things like, I love all humanity, whilst allowing hundreds of thousands of children to die in suffering and pain every year, knowing for a fact that is going to happen, whilst having the ability to not let it happen. I mean, this is a classic case of Stockholm Syndrome. In fact, anyone that believes that God is good and nice, in my opinion, is suffering from Stockholm Syndrome, because you're being terrorized by someone. You're being threatened with eternal damnation if you don't worship him. He's already killed all of humanity once, created evil, allows evil to happen, whilst telling you that he loves you. That's like an abusive person holding you captive.
I feel like there is a biblical narrative that is available, and it would be coherent, and it would refute a few of those points that you raised. Like, for example, God killing all of mankind. God does not kill innocent people. The Bible, for like with reference to the flood here, the Bible does talk
Everyone's
about
innocent.
how when the flood happened, there were very few good people left, truly good people.
But they also died.
Were moral. Well, they were on the ark. That's how few there were, because the evil people, God says that in the flood, the Bible says in the flood, at the times of the flood, people were
but God made the evil happen. God made the evil happen. So it's like, I'm going to make this evil happen so that I can then kill everyone. That's not an
God.
That's
pleads,
sicko talking.
God pleads with his people to not be violent. That's why we're called to not be murderers.
But
so
God, fair enough, he can plead, but God also has the ability to make you not violent, because God is all powerful and can do whatever he wants, right? So if God wanted right now, he could just remove evil from the world. But he chooses not to. He chooses to allow evil to stay here, even though he has the ability to remove it. Therefore, anything bad that ever happens, the buck stops with God. It's his fault.
This is a bit of a trial that we live here, where we are letting our soul, we are learning our souls, and people do choose to be evil. There are people who delight in, and I can't think of a single reason to ever initiate violence. There is none. I can find good in the devil, in that the blatant overt wickedness in society with the 666s everywhere is that show. The devil can show some people that see all that stuff and say, wow, if evil is real in the devil, God must be real. So even the devil can lead people to God. He doesn't get to be pure evil.
God made
anyway.
the devil, though, right? God made the devil knowing that he would like do all the stuff, and
he chose, because he gave us free will.
He did. An all-knowing God cannot give people free will. Those things do not work together. All right, Sigma Step $5 says, no time for the old in and out love. I've just come to read the meter. Let me just catch up with a few of these quickly.
Okay.
Sigma Step $5. Craig needs to get his guitar out and sing for us. Right, later on this month, probably towards the end of the month, maybe one of the last streams this month, will be me doing a live acoustic set. I'm going to do 10 songs. And 5 of them are going to be chosen by you. 3 are written by me, and a couple are some of my favourites. So you will get to hear me doing some more singing and stuff, and I will show you that I am also talented like that. Sigma Step $5. Dihydrogen monoxide for £2. Alcohol is valid facepalm protection, not always, mate. Sigma Step $10. Craig needs to sing Always Look on the Bright Side of Life tonight. It's too late, kids are in bed. Dihydrogen monoxide for £2 says, oh, bloody hell. How many super chats have you guys sent already? You are so supportive. But my screen has frozen, because why not?
Wonders of tech.
Yeah. Come on, Google.
It really is amazing, y'all. This technology is really incredible. It allows for so much flourishing of, ingenuity and capability of the human mind and consciousness.
Yeah.
Where humans are so amazing.
Dihydrogen monoxide £2 says, as a pagan, what the actual fuck? I know. Sigma Step $5 says, even Jehovah's Witnesses accept the globe, for fuck's sake. Yeah, how do you feel about the fact that the main position of Christians is that the earth is actually a globe?
So the Bible does say that there is mass delusion that will fall upon even the elect, and that there will be something called science, so-called, or like pseudoscience, and that's actually the naturalism religion. All religious worldviews.
And you don't think maybe you're the one that's fallen for the pseudoscience?
Could be, but as far as how the Bible would explain it, so every religion or every belief of origin you're trying to look at scientific data, and that has to be, because it's data, and then your worldview has to accommodate and onboard that data, adapt its explanations or whatever it has to do if it needs to, or if the data outright falsifies, you really have to think of something, or the model is falsified. And so science, naturalism has to try to explain things, and so they have beliefs as well. But Christian, the science that we are taught is the science of naturalism, and it gets grafted in to other religions. There are Christians who believe in the globe.
But science isn't religion.
So-called. There are Jewish people who believe in the globe, science so-called. Muslim people who believe in the globe, science so-called. That
the
religion,
majority of
the devil's creation, it has mixed into all of the belief systems that school systems around the world promote and teach to the mass, to all of us.
But what if flat Earth is the delusion? Right? What if that is the case? Because the fact is, you're talking about like falsification. Flat Earth has been falsified so many times. So
I don't think that it has, but I will.
100% has. I falsified it personally when I measured the Earth's rotation and calculated my latitude from the data that I had. Matching the predictions
that's a
of the
motion
globe.
of the sky that we can measure.
No, I didn't measure. I didn't use. I've been through this. I didn't use the sky. I didn't use the sky. I was in a building. I used the predictions of the globe. I used the prediction of the globe. Right. I falsified the claim of the Earth being stationary, and used the data to calculate my latitude on the Earth, matching the spherical model. I falsified the flat Earth and failed to falsify the globe. It's very easy to do.
So if the Flerf is falsified, and we'll just go with that hypothetical, or to you maybe it's a little more than hypothetical, it's experimental to you. Experimental really is objective, but well, there's also interpretation and everything. So so we'll say that if the Earth was falsified and not flat, so what then we could do? So ancient man, our early man, has these worldviews. We have all these different belief systems and everything. We have this Christian group here and this Canaanite group here, and we have all these different groups of people who have these beliefs. But if very early on, we'll predate the globe starting to mix into things and whatnot. When there were people who were like, well, the ground doesn't feel moving, I can't detect it because my body isn't sensitive enough to the Earth's motion. So we'll just say it's stationary and it looks flat with the moving sky. So we'll just say, so at that time period, those were the people who were coming up with the foundations of our religions. If the Earth was a globe, all religions are wrong. Right now, I think the Bible is the
all religions are wrong. We agree.
Or religious text yet to be falsified. But if the Earth was a globe, all religions couldn't be the literal perfect word of God, because they are saying the Earth is still, but we would know it moves.
No, interpretations can say that it's still, but they don't specifically say the Earth is still. And especially when you look at the original, the fact that you're using the King James, it is a big problem when you try and discuss the Bible, because the King James Bible was altered so much. It was actually altered for political reasons. It was altered to be more about man than God specifically. That he tried to make it less about God and more about politics and more about being in charge. And it's basically a different book to the actual Bible. And it actually blows my mind that Christians, people that say they're Christians, will use the King James Bible when it's so different to what the Bible was meant to be. I find that very confusing, but that's a different conversation.
So I can real quick, because so there are different translations. I do think that the Word of God can be preserved if man does tamper, like the Vatican or anything. If they tamper, I think the messages and meanings can still be conveyed and passed through. But with the the flat Earth, we could. So there has to be a God worthy of worship. So if you are reading a book that says 2 + 2 is 5. That the earth is like a stool, even though it's a ball. And that's actually one thing too. Isaiah used the word circle in Isaiah 40,
Yeah,
19.
not
He
really.
used the word ball. So he knew what a ball was and would describe the earth as such. But those things so one thing that I think needs to be considered, if you are going to consider and really give an honest opportunity to, is there a creator? Is there this being that made all that is, including life itself and all of us? I think it's reasonable to say that the creator would need to be worthy of worship.
And I do not think that your version of the creator is worthy of worship. And the one reason that I can pin that on is the fact that he says, if you don't worship me, you go to hell and burn. Right? Therefore, he's not worthy. Anyone who has to threaten you with eternal damnation or any kind of physical violence to worship you is not worthy of worship. Simple as that. And to touch on the thing you said about the circle, again, you're using the King James, which is a real bad thing. The circle of earth, Isaiah 40:22, refers to the earth as a circle. However, in ancient Hebrew, circle or chug doesn't mean disc, and it's not a reference to flatness.
So it also in Isaiah 42 mentions a tent that is spread out, and if you can look at a circus tent, it's got a tent with a circle around
right, okay,
where the events happen.
The verse in Isaiah 40:22 typically reads something like this in English translations: "He sits enthroned above the circle of earth, and its people are like grasshoppers." The word translated here as circle is the Hebrew word chug, which is a tricky term. In ancient Hebrew, chug can mean circle, compass, vault, or horizon. So it's a versatile term and is not confined to a flat 2D shape. If I say I had intended to convey a flat disc, he could have chosen other available Hebrew words at the time, like duar, which literally meant disc, or other terms implying a more flat surface. Instead, chug is a word that leans more towards rounded or spherical connotations rather than flatness. So the fact that the original translation uses... One sec. One sec, though. The fact that the original translation would use the word chug, which in most connotations where that's used, it relates to roundness and sphericalness rather than something flat, kind of says that it doesn't mean a flat circle, because even a ball from above can just look like a circle. But the word that was chosen to be used in the original writing didn't mean something flat. It meant something rounded.
So if it uses the word circle, which we know geometrically as a shape, with 2D connotation, the circle. But
that's the thing. I just told you it didn't do that. It used the word chug, which had 3D connotations. The original translation of the Bible used the word chug, which did not mean flat circle. It meant rounded, spherical.
So how do you pitch a tent over a flat circle or over a sphere? It's visual. If these were primitive, we're again
that's a lot. The Bible is the Bible is poetry, right? And it's a poetic thing to say the stars are pitched like a tent. That's the problem here, is that I'm trying to say to you, you're taking words in the Bible extremely literally, but not only the Bible, a bastardized mistranslation of the Bible, which you're basing your foundation to the universe and flat earth on, when that wasn't the original connotations or intention of the people that wrote the original version of your book.
So if the interpretations were somehow bastardized, it would still, I think, stand to reason that there's coherency in the bastardization, and it still conveys. But
it's not, dude. Honestly, have you ever looked into the difference between the King James Bible and the original writings? It's interesting how much was changed. Entire verses were rewritten. Entire sections were removed. Extra bits were put in that were never in there before. They changed the names of people. They changed the location of where things happened. They changed some of the plots of certain verses. They basically made some verses exact copies of other with different people, even though that wasn't how it was originally. If you're using the King James Bible as your base, then you're not actually talking about the book that was written thousands of years ago. It's a completely different book.
So there is a lot with translation, and one thing, real quick, with the different versions and everything, I think if one reads the Bible, messages will be conveyed, and themes and ideals and notions are quite clearly conveyed. And I think those do span across very, very many versions. There are several Bible versions. That's certainly
there's thousands of Bible versions. That's the thing.
Yeah, and I believe to create a new Bible version, I think you have to change about 10% or so of a other version, and then you can make it into its new version. And so you can only change words around so much to convey the same exact meaning.
But it doesn't convey the same meaning. That's the thing. It doesn't convey the same meaning. It literally had, I can't remember the exact figure, but it was close to 33,000 changes compared to what they were using for a translation. And they were translating from not just one version of the Bible, but several versions of the Bible that themselves were different translations. And trying to put it all together whilst changing it to make it be what the king at the time wanted it to say. That book is much more, the King James Bible is much more about power and retaining power and being in a position of power than pushing the message of Christ. And
so what about how manuscripts please do not fault the Bible and what the Bible says for how man interprets and uses the Bible for their own gain.
But isn't that what you're doing? You're interpreting the Bible for your own gain, to facilitate your preconceived notion that the earth is flat. Right? But that isn't what it was intended for. You're using the Bible as a flat earth book, which is not what it was intended for.
But the way that it is that the natural world shows conditions that are implicative of a flat earth, and then we can recreate in a scaled experiment the conditions and simulate what we see in reality, like sunsets and everything.
Okay, well, be specific about what you're saying about that then. Like, what does the Bible show us that is testable in reality?
Well, so the science is settled and points to a flat stationary Earth, or its science is settled, but the science indicates a flat stationary Earth, and then we can say, okay, now what do these books say? Well, the Bible happens to make a claim about a flat and stationary Earth and sound like a flat Earth and flat stationary Earth book, and give the colloquial, symbolic
but you said the Bible gives us something that we can test specifically. What is that?
Like the MMX showed that the Earth is stationary, which
no, it didn't.
No,
that's untrue. That's completely untrue. The Michelson-Morley experiment didn't show the Earth was stationary. It showed the Earth wasn't moving through an Aether. They did the experiment knowing that the Earth went around the sun. It wasn't about seeing if the Earth moved or not. It was seeing if there was a result of Earth going through an Aether, which they found there is no Aether. There's no way that you can use the results of the Michelson-Morley experiment to say that the Earth didn't move, because that wasn't a measurement it was trying to make. So that claim you just said was false. I just want to make that very, very clear. Right? So, okay, the Michelson-Morley experiment doesn't back up anything about that.
You and I did talk a little bit about the MMX like the last time we talked, and I think that one I would certainly rehash into that, because I do think that it is interpreted that the data is that of a Earth that, if it was moving, is not moving at the rates claimed by the globe.
No, again, it only had to do with if Earth was moving through Aether. That's it. It was only attempting to measure the movement through Aether. That was it. They knew the Earth was moving, and the results in no way said that the Earth wasn't moving. They were simply looking for results of the effects of Earth going through an Aether. Those effects didn't exist. Aether was removed. Earth never stopped moving thanks to that experiment. And that is the consensus of science, all right? So if you disagree with that, then you are disagreeing with the actual consensus of the people that did the experiment and the people that have investigated it afterwards.
I do think science is not one really for consensus. If many people believe if you released a pen that it would float in the air, it doesn't mean that.
Well, they'd have to show that's the case. They'd have to show that is the case, though, right?
Well,
anyway, I need to catch up on more super chats.
Einstein did invent relativity after the MMX to be able to say that all frames are equal in any reference frame, and so everything.
It did help him. Yes, he discovered that that's a fact.
Not moving because it's a snapshot. It's a frame frozen, which is motionless.
No, that's not how that works.
Things have to.
You've misunderstood what. Dude, hold on. You've misunderstood what like a reference frame is. There, we can get into that. Mr. Shonk says for $5. Since we're on the topic of religion, even Islam says the Earth was round since it was described as an egg in the Quran.
Yeah. Okay. So that's if there are if books are wrong, if the creator, who's all capable and all loving, couldn't give us a book that conveys what he wants us to know, well, here, that would not be a God worthy of worship. And so if the Earth was a globe, I do fully believe we could be done with religion. It was something that, for evolutionary purposes, we developed this thing to give us a sense of community and more purpose or whatever.
I mean, I agree. Religion should all be gone.
Society and humanity goes, we would be much more productive and better off if
without religion. Yeah.
This is very conflicting to my actual beliefs. I'm very literally a biblical literalist, but to try to I think accurately represent the other side.
What if I gave you a Bible that literally said the Earth is a globe? Like, because there is some Bibles that literally say the Earth is a globe. And what's to say that those Bibles? Yeah, but hold on. What's to say that those Bibles are any less true than your version of the Bible?
I think over time there were people who want to modernize the Bible to kind of make it.
You mean like King James, the one that you're using?
With science, because it's like there are Christians, and there's nothing wrong with, it's not like a salvation or anything. You're loved by your Creator, but to ascribe evolution
we aren't loved by Him, dude. I'm not loved by our Creator.
You are.
No, I'm not. Why am I in agony 24? Yes. If there was a Creator and He loved me, I wouldn't be in agony 24 hours a day. That's not what you do to somebody you love. Do you realize what I have to do in my life to be able to deal with being in pain? Like, there's no way, if there's a Creator, He loves me. I spend my entire existence in agony. He has the ability to stop that if He's real. He could literally just take my pain away, but He chooses not to if He's real. That's not someone that loves me.
He in his, if we were in His original creation to start, when
we're not.
Entered into the earth, you would not know pain. You would not know suffering.
But we're not. So He can't love me now though, because I do have pain and suffering. Like, okay, my little sister, right? My little sister Kirsty, fucking my little angel, right? She was the youngest person in Europe to ever be diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, right? And now, getting on to nearly 40, she still suffers every single day of it. In fact, she's going through some pretty bad kind of relapses right now. You tell me there's a Creator that loves my little sister, that has made her spend her entire life with a body that is fighting against her. Like, where's the love, man?
There is a lot of sadness that and tragedy and hardship that we do experience in this life. That God knows that we all are going to go through all of these different, horrible things that He doesn't want for us. That's why His original creation had called for none of that, which we would have then experienced none of it, and that we have an eternal future where we will have none of that. And it's to all of mankind. We're all welcome to go back.
But I don't want to. Yeah, but I will never worship somebody that says that I am. If I don't worship Him, I'm going to hell. because I don't respond to threats. Therefore, I'm never going to that eternal place with peace and happiness and no pain. But God also knew when he created me that that is the choice that I would make. So God designed me to live in pain and to never get the reward. Frankly, that makes God a bit of a dick. And just to be clear, if God is real and we ever met, right, we would be fighting and I would be throwing the first punch.
I'm not so sure about that. But
even if I lost, that's what would happen. I would have to be held back by his angels.
You don't want to initiate any harm if you can discuss it. If you're an intelligent man.
Oh no, we're past discussing it. I've spent my life in agony. I'm punching the guy square in the nose, and then I'm going to stamp on his face and say, that's for my little sister. And then I'm going to kick him in his testicles and say, that's for all the babies that suffer from the second they're born. Then I'm going to stamp on his testicles and say, that's just because I don't like you.
Craig, you got to remember, God didn't want any of this for man, and weeps that he knows what everyone
but
is
he
going
could make it stop if he's real. He could make it all go away. He could heal. If God's real, heal my fucking leg.
Let me.
I'm a good person.
Let me put something your way real quick, and then So, you don't believe in a creator, right? Currently.
No. Because frankly, I don't want to believe in such an evil being. That's the main reason that I don't believe in a creator, is because I do not want to believe in such an evil, psychotic, petty, sociopathic being. So no, I can't believe in that creator.
That's good to know that we have very specific subject matter for what to discuss. But I want it. So let me ask you this real quick. So we're gonna go with your worldview right now is currently that there's no creator. So right now, man is kind of the apex of our known existence. So what if man was choosing to seriously devote funding to researching MS, as opposed to spending $36 million on an attack helicopter?
So
what if we were
globally spending for
money to the well-being of our own people?
Right.
Couldn't it be man's?
Globally, spending for research on multiple sclerosis is over $4 billion a year. However, if God was real and loved everyone, then he could remove multiple sclerosis from humanity, right? Because do you know what multiple sclerosis is?
Without MS.
No, do you know what multiple sclerosis is? Why it happens?
How do you mean? As far as like autoimmune?
Right. Imagine this, right? This is what multiple sclerosis is. Imagine a bunch of electrical wires, right? All kind of bundled up, right? They don't touch each other because they've got the sheath on it. They've all got that, the wrap around them, okay? Now, if that sheath is all taken away and all those wires are touching and getting cross signals, that's what's happening to people with multiple sclerosis in their brain. That myelin, that coating around the neurons doesn't exist. It degrades. So their signals are constantly getting crossed and destroyed. So why did God allow that to be a thing that could happen to the human brain?
So once God originally had a brain that your sheath was resilient and didn't disintegrate due to the conditions, but then we fell, which is where we went from God's original creation to now having God.
But God knew that would happen, though, right? But God knew we would fall, right?
Well, I'm kind of giving a little bit of a long answer. I'm trying to give a little bit of context, but God can't exist where evil is and where sin is, because he is all good. So him wanting these things to happen to people, I don't think it doesn't match his character.
He literally can't be all good. That's incompatible with how the universe is.
So Craig, MS is terrible. But right now you are here. You are alive. Thank God, and thank
well, no, not thank God. Thank the doctors and surgeons that have worked on my body. Thank me for working for the past 2 years with intensive physiotherapy and working out. Not God didn't do that. I have done it. Right? Do you know how many hours I have had to spend at the gym trying to repair my body? God didn't repair my body. I fucking did.
It's so you have the right now. This is you have this MS, but there is a chance.
No, my sister does.
Through your hard work, through research and development and new learning, things could happen that could change.
Yeah, none of that's thanks to God.
The ultimate of when man fell, what we introduced into the world was literally death itself. Death is
but again, you're missing the point. God allowed that to happen and knew it would happen.
He didn't want it to happen.
But he knew it would. Whether he wanted it to or not, he knew it would.
And just because you know something doesn't mean you want something. So God's character wouldn't want that. But right now we live in a world where where apparently evil is so rampant that literally the entire world almost the entire world can become continuously evil. So we live in a world where death was brought in. Death is the ultimate of it's the end all. It literally is how we end our lives. It's the end of our life. Okay. If you and there are some people who will say all sin is sin, which is, it's true to the extent that it's true. But there is also, we have, it's, if you tell a little fib or something, that's different from murder, from straight up cold blood murder. And so
God straight up cold blooded murder most of the world.
He didn't kill any humans. They were hybrid.
No, they were definitely humans.
Evil beings.
No, they were all humans. DNA would say they were humans.
Continuously evil.
Yeah, humans can be evil. Humans can be evil. They're still human. Right, Sigma Step $5 says I would super chat. Hold on.
Around evil. Evil people can't go to heaven. You can't have murderers walking around in heaven. Who want to and would take a life.
Yeah, but also you don't go to heaven because you people don't demand things of you like that. Single step $5. I would super chat $5 if Craig played Impossible Mission on his stream. Any music you want me to play, there's going to be votes in the Discord. Nerd Pedantic Alert, who's been a member for 51 months, says, according to Norse mythology, the earth was made by Odin and his brothers from the flesh, bones, blood, and teeth of giant Ymir. Does Nathan agree?
Nope. And by the way, Craig, how long have you been playing guitar?
Since I was about 8.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah.
Wow. That's
like 32 years, 33 years. I'm a qualified guitar teacher. Been in several bands, recorded a bunch of music.
Wow. Wait. Okay. That's music. Music is awesome, but it's difficult. Yowzers. This stuff is that's a skill to play.
Some of my just hang guitars on my wall that I like.
God, nice. You got them on the wall. Okay. That's right. I'll go. And by the way, so just to check in real quick, if my battery, I'm at 27%.
Right. Okay.
So I mean, I still have. I'm doing fairly good on time here. I feel like. So I don't know where you're at or anything, but I should be good a bit longer or whenever, however you're feeling.
Okay. Cool.
Because I know it's getting a little late for you. So let me know, and I'm like. Anyone, if you got questions or anything, I'm Craig. I'm happy to go through, anything. You got,
I'm just making sure that there's any questions for you in the chat. So let me just see. Sigma Step for $10 says, "Does God want goodness or the choice of goodness? Is a man who chooses to be bad perhaps in some way better than a man who has the good imposed upon him?"
I'm gonna ask you to repeat that second part real quick, but can you real quick repeat the first part, and then I just want to put a one sentence thing to it.
Yeah, does God want goodness or the choice of goodness?
Okay, so God wants goodness, and we all have the choice every day to go do goodness or go do badness. Okay. And so he wants us to choose good, but okay. So what's the second part?
Is a man who chooses to be bad perhaps in some way better than a man who has good imposed upon him?
So that good imposed upon us is not correlative to the Bible, because It's not
I disagree.
God.
I
We could
disagree.
be forced
What
to
does God
tell-
say happens if you don't worship him?
We can choose. Well, if we choose in our heart of hearts to not worship God, we are choosing to partake in evil and wickedness.
Right, okay. So we
and
are
which is
having
where
the good
decision
imposed
is
upon
made.
us because we are being forced to worship God. Otherwise, we are classed as evil and wicked. So we absolutely, have good imposed upon us.
I think there are wicked entities that want to go to hell, and
God's
can't
definitely a wicked
wait
entity if
or
he's real.
want to return. There is. We are able to choose. It's not forced upon it. You can choose to do good, but if you're doing bad, you're choosing to do bad, and so that's you're.
Yeah,
it's
but
not
you say
forced upon
choose. You say
You're still-
choosing, but at the same time, God knew everything that was going to happen, and it's all planned out and allowed it to happen. So, is it really a choice? I would say no. Oh no, it's Andy for £2 says, I think he thinks he knows better than religious scientists. It's just a statement,
that's
really.
a funny term that someone would put together. I thought,
Yeah.
some people don't ascribe those two and relate them, but in our public educational system, they're actually pretty tied in. But no, that's you should listen to what someone has to say or don't. But if someone, I'd have a discussion with. There are certain Christian astronomers who do good legitimate science in the publications and lab settings and all that, but then they have their beliefs, but they are very adamant against the flat earth, and I discuss with them, happily have a conversation with them. They don't want to at all interact with flat earth, but that's those discussion that is, which actually helps prevent sin and wickedness. Like, if we are able to be civil, respectful, and kind to one another and have discussion and discourse,
Yeah, but also you go to hell if you don't do what I say. So guys, which flat earther is this? Vote in the chat. Annalise Knapp, member for 2 months, says, man, I didn't sign up for Bible study. I'm trying to show how it's not really a good thing. Bitter Truth for $5 says, how a female can birth a boy without a male Y chromosome? FTFE, please ask him, and how an adult female can born from Adam's ribs. Any scientific evidence of that?
Okay, so yeah, an all-capable creator who can make things by speaking them into existence, can form them with his hands, can breathe the breath of life. An all-capable creator would be able to put someone under a sleep, remove their rib, form it into another human.
How?
Beyond
process.
Women are a little bit more than man.
Right, so he can do that, but he can't. He can do all that, but he can't fix my leg.
So this was in the garden. We were able to walk with God, and then when we had his son here in the flesh, who could put his hands on people and heal them from anything, Nathan, why doesn't
God heal my leg? Like, Nathan, God has the ability to heal my leg, right? So God has the ability to heal my leg, right? I don't have a meniscus in this leg. It's been completely removed. My scapular tendon, it is shot into 4 pieces. I've got massive cleavage point. I've got 4 pins in my leg. The bones sheared away. The kneecap's absolutely destroyed. The actual joint is worn itself away. God could fix my knee, right? He's got the ability to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Why doesn't he?
So,
what I choose for God to fix my leg. Why doesn't he?
Well, you do choose to currently be turned away from him and not believe on him. And
so you're saying that if I believed in him, he'd fix my leg?
He could. All things are possible. He's all
capable. So you're saying that if I gave my heart to Christ, that my leg would magically, even though I've been told by every doctor that I've seen, my leg cannot be fixed. It is impossible to fix my leg. At the most, they can do a knee replacement completely that would have to be done again in a few years because of the amount of damage. And the best option is to remove my leg. Every doctor has said this, But you're saying that if I believed in God, that my leg could be fixed. And the only reason it's not is because I don't believe in God.
Yes, you could. And also too, not only could, because things like that can happen. There are
one of my best friends, Peter, was
God could try to get to you could be one. That's one thing actually about like the medical system, to say that they know what will happen to you. They don't know where research will go in a year or two. They don't know the future, and they shouldn't.
God does though. God knows the future.
God does know the future, absolutely.
So one of my best friends in life, Peter, if you watch, right, one sec.
4 months.
Hold on, right. One of my best friends in life, Peter.
That really helps you. I hope we do.
Right. One of my best friends in life, Peter. Hey, Pete, if you're watching, his dad was actually a pastor. He ran the Pentecostal church, and he had all kind of health issues all of the time. Why didn't God fix those? He believed in God.
So we do go through these things, and it's part of. It's like when I'm not married, but I really find a hard time thinking marriage could ever go down or have its lows. Maybe they're just not as elevated highs or something. But like you do go through. If there's an accident or something, you go through that. You go through these things, and you don't let them get you down. You have others, you have people, you have yourself, you have your fortitude, and you have to be there. But you can persevere through these things, and going through something doesn't have to define you in a way.
My friend's dad died because of these things. God didn't fix them; he died. And he spent his life worshipping God. Yet, he was in pain and suffered. Why didn't God fix it?
Because we have these trials. We have mutations in our DNA. We have people who are spraying the
right. So it's not right. So it's not whether you believe or not. It's mutations in your DNA now. There's different. You're changing your story. You said that if I believed in God, maybe my leg could be fixed. But now you're saying it's about mutations in DNA. So could God fix it or not? Can he not fix a mutation in DNA? Is God not all powerful enough to fix a mutation in DNA? Nathan, you are making excuses.
If God wanted to fix your leg, no amount of poison that
why doesn't he fix my leg? I'm a good person.
Would alter that.
I am a good person. Even if I don't believe in God, I am a good person who has tried to make this world a better place for the people that I live in. It's why would he not fix my leg?
I do believe, Craig, that you are. I like talking to you, and I do believe you are a good person, and there's good in you. But Craig, when you, like a little bit ago, you said that if you met God face to face, his angels would have to hold you back.
Oh, too fucking right, because I spent my life in agony. And if it turns out God is real and he could have stopped that, then I'm gonna fucking make him face the consequences.
And okay, we can put it. There are burden and blame gets put on God a lot, and when something goes good, it goes to other people or whatever. But let's say, what if instead of having the world that we live in where we fund destruction and violence, what if we funded medical research? And what if man, like we are made in the image of God. We're very intelligent, very creative.
It's a pretty bad image. The human body's fucking awful. Why did he choose this image?
The human body is still well beyond origin of life researchers, let alone a cell.
But that doesn't matter. The human body, Nathan, the human body is awful. Why did God create us in his image and give us a redundant organ that explodes and kills us sometimes?
Are you talking about the appendix?
Yeah. Look at this, right? Look at the size of this fucking scar. Because my appendix literally exploded. See that? That is because my appendix literally exploded. And the size of that scar because of that. Why did God make an organ that nearly killed me on my 16th birthday?
That exploded on your birthday?
Yeah.
Wow. What a birthday. That's
Like why did God create us in His image with an organ that's only purpose is to murder you?
So the purpose of the appendix is actually to re-inoculate the intestine with good bacteria.
It doesn't do that though.
It does, but
No.
this actually part of it. So we eat a lot of processed synthetic chemical food, and actually even too like animal products, meat and dairy are not necessarily to our anatomy. And so when we eat these things, they do cause inflammation. They cause other pathogens, bacteria, and things to get in our system, get infected.
I've always been quite good with what I've eaten, and I've always been quite healthy and active. So I mean, and in fact,
you as a whole may be, but if you have an organ that has a piece of inflammatory material,
the appendix literally has no use in the modern human body. It doesn't give any benefit to you. Studies show that the difference in health between people that have and don't have the appendix, there's no difference. In fact, people without an appendix then tend to live longer because there's less likely complications from having an appendix in your old age. You know, to say God created us in His own image means that God was a fucking idiot that had no idea how to create something good. If he had the ability, he should have created a being that wouldn't get ill.
You got to hold him to the standards of his original creation. If God's original creation, there was no death and no harm.
So are we in his image or not?
We are.
But we're not his original creation.
We've cleaved from God. We've separated from him through...
So does his original creation include a faulty appendix?
No.
Then why is he still creating us with a faulty appendix?
We are in a fallen world, and our souls are much more important.
But he could stop it. He has the
body.
ability, as God, to stop it. And he doesn't. That makes him evil.
We are free. Right now we are free.
We're not, because he knows what's going to happen. He knows everything. He knows that I'm going to pick this up and show it to the camera. He knows that I'm going to take this out and put it back in my ear. He knows that I'm about to push these glasses up
my head.
So I don't have free will, because he knows all that's going to happen.
Didn't you just choose to do all those things regardless if he knew it? What if I knew you?
No, I didn't choose to do it because he knew it would happen.
Those things. It doesn't mean you couldn't. I right now am looking at a bottle and I can pick it up, and I just chose. I looked.
No, you didn't. Yeah, but you didn't choose to. It was part of God's plan. It was already planned out that you would do that, so you didn't actually choose to do it.
I did. I just chose to.
But was it God's plan? What was it God's plan for you to pick up that bottle?
He knew it was because I am here to.
But was it like no? It's a yes or no question, Nathan. It's a yes or no question, dude.
What I'm doing.
But it's a yes or no question.
What I'm going to choose. God could know. God knows what I'm going to do. God willing.
The cognitive dissonance is insane.
And if I'm doing some great evil or great good or something, He's going to know.
Right, you missed. Right, okay, it's simple. Was it God's plan for you to pick up that bottle?
God's plan involves getting people to
yes or no.
Humans.
Yes or no, Nathan. Was it God's plan for you to pick up that bottle?
I don't see how me picking that bottle up is directly impacting His plan of
no, not impacting His plan.
Saved.
Is that part of His design? Did He know it was happening? Did He plan for that to happen?
Yes, He knew it was going to happen.
Right, so He planned for it to happen. Therefore, we don't have free will. Right.
So here's what he planned. He planned to make me and form me, and he planned to give me a mind where I am free to choose if I want to drink water.
But He knew you would.
I can choose.
So it's not free.
He knew I would, but I am free. He's on the other side of it. He's in an all-knowing position outside of existence. We here in our reality on a human level, human scale, we are free. We are in the moment. We are choosing actively.
Not if He's decided everything's going to happen. Right, anyway, Vic from Canada for $6.99 says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. This made a lot of people very angry and was widely considered to be a bad move. What book is that, guys? It's part of the trilogy
Wait,
of
like
6 books.
You're not talking about Genesis. That was from Genesis.
No. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. This made a lot of people very angry and was widely considered to be a bad move. Which book
that's
was
not
that
part
from?
of the comic. Okay. I don't know what that is.
I'm pretty sure it is Life, the Universe, and Everything, the 3rd book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy trilogy of 6 books. Have you ever read
42.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
I read that book. I think that, like, I don't know if it's, I didn't even know it was a trilogy or more books beyond, but I read that one in like 10th grade or something.
Well, read all 6 of them because they're still the best books ever written. Right, Mike Goat Killer.
What is the best book? The Bible. That's what I held up.
It's a bit of a sucky book, to be honest, man. Mike Goat Killer 199 says, "Who is this God person anyway?"
An all-loving creator who made you specially and loves all of us.
Nathan, you're definitely special, bud. Sigma Step $2 says Google is censoring the crap out of me. Bad Google.
They do that. Yeah, did you know Google's motto used to be "Do no evil," and then they changed it. I'm pretty sure, like, you can change your motto or whatever if you got something going on, but I feel like there are certain mottos where if you happen to make that your motto, you probably shouldn't change it. And if it's "Do no evil," that's kind of one of those that it's like, yeah, maybe we should not change that because that's pretty good. I mean, you don't really need to move from that. So
Google being evil means I make more money. I'm happy with that. Selexis for £2 says they're in a one-sided toxic relationship. Yeah, that's why I keep saying that. I feel like a lot of religious people have Stockholm syndrome. I see all the things. They ignore the bad shit, rationalize it, and still say they're having a good time.
I think there's a cohesive narrative that definitely separates good and God from evil, the devil, and man, and choosing. And real quick, I just want to say, there are some people who are, I think, like right now in this world, there are some people who are pure evil and want to think of how to manipulate, hurt people, harm society.
Like David Weiss, for instance.
People, who?
David Weiss, Flat Earth Dave.
No. So,
well, yeah, he just wants to manipulate and lie to people, right?
There are some truly, and I'm talking like people who don't have any regard for our lives, with no regard for human life. These are how these people think, act, operate, and they're in these modes of thought, like actively. There are some people like that, and these people get into some influential places, and they have some people more choosing to align with their modalities rather than that they're influencing others who are not purely evil, whom I believe in their heart of hearts are good people, but they are in, it's like if you grow up in, and people, I'll use the example with religion. People will say, you're Christian because you grew up in a Christian area, so you had no choice.
Selexis asks,
people who can be,
Selexis asks,
can be born into a situation and, it's not, it's their environment and everything. They themselves as their individual self could be different. God knows our hearts. He's the one who judges.
Selexis asks, can you be a good person even if you choose not to worship God?
You can be a good person, yes, absolutely, and not worship God. I might speculate that you have God in your heart, and that's why you are choosing good. And God is more knowing than any of us.
I'm a good person. I know I'm a good person, but I don't worship God. I'm a good person even though I believe people should face consequences, and those consequences should be harsh. It's a Rubik's for $2 says childhood cancer is enough to dismiss God being good. I agree.
Remember God's original creation.
Doesn't matter. Original creation's gone. We exist now. We exist now in a world that is full of bad shit that God has the ability to remove, but doesn't.
If someone builds a building, I'm not responsible for the building.
Yeah, but
if
God, the buck stops with God.
Man chooses alternatives.
No. The buck stops with God. The buck stops with God, man. Jiffy Jiffo for $5 says, how many children, babies, and pregnant women does your guest think perished in the flood of Genesis or during God's wrathful phase in Exodus?
How many
children,
No.
babies, and pregnant women did perish in the flood of Genesis or during God's wrathful phase in Exodus? Because you can't tell me the babies
people
in that
were taken out I think it's hard to conceptualize because there are people who can look human but be wicked, and those people.
Yeah, but what about the babies? The little babies that were killed by the flood, Nathan?
They were sacrificing babies on an
Nathan,
altar and
yeah,
eating
but what,
them.
Nathan? But what about the babies that were killed in the flood? The babies were innocent. And what about the mothers that were carrying babies that were killed during the flood? Those babies inside the mothers were totally innocent, yet they were still killed. Are you telling me the babies were evil?
These were continuously evil beings.
Are you saying there's no way that baby could have grown up to be good?
No, the only people left that
can you cite in the Bible? Could you do me a favor and cite in the Bible where it says babies killed during the Great Flood could not have grown up to be good?
I don't believe that is in the Bible when it's talking about the flood. Like, the Bible only has so many scripture, so many verses to work with when talking about the flood topic, because it has so much else to talk about. Yeah. And I don't think that so
you're just making totally assumptions and frankly excuses for an evil psychopath here.
No, it's cohesive with what the Bible says. Everyone was continuously evil.
Even babies. Were babies continuously evil?
They were.
A baby born before it even had the ability to see a few inches in front of its face. There would have been some of them during the flood. Are you telling me that baby had nothing but evil thoughts?
That baby was either going to be sacrificed, or grow up to be someone who was sacrificing, because Noah had time before the flood to
Have you got evidence of this, that all the babies would have done that?
Happen, and people were still choosing
right. How about hold on.
Ritual.
So let's say hypothetically, Great Flood happens, right? And one of these babies that has just been born survives the flood because it floated away on some wood or something, and after the Great Flood, it's picked up by
its mother. It's a newborn baby.
It's done some good. A seagull landed on it and gave it a bit of fish and whatever. It somehow survived, right? And then it's picked up by a good person that's left. Is that baby then going to grow up to be evil?
That didn't happen in the Bible. There were no...
Well, no, let's say hypothetically if it had. We're not talking about what happened. We're talking about hypothetically if it had, because you're saying that baby would have been pure evil. But we're saying hypothetically if it had, and that baby had survived the flood and been picked up by a good mother, would that baby then have still turned out to be evil?
So, post-flood, I believe evil entities could choose to go back to good if they chose to. So if post-flood there was this evil baby, then
so the baby could choose to not be evil. How did the baby do that?
Yes, the post-flood evil society babies, people are, there's some people have some.
How did the baby make this choice? Babies can do nothing but shit their pants until they're 18 months old.
Post-flood, there was more evil, had more ability to go back to good, to choose. People had found it.
I just want to be clear. You're saying that the baby was evil. As soon as it was born, that baby had evil thoughts, is what you're saying.
Okay, so what we are talking about in this hypothetical is that we have an continuously evil society, and then the flood comes, and this one stowaway makes it through the flood in this hypothetical situation. So this baby...
But that stowaway is a baby that's just been born.
So yes, the baby is coming from an evil society, so that's an evilly born baby to evil parents who are evil themselves and have evil offspring and do horrible things to those offspring. And that baby, if it had grown up with those parents, goes along with them and everything, generationally raised. And so, but that baby stows away, gets found, like you said, by this good person. Now, because it's post-flood, people who are more proclived to evil can choose to go to good instead.
So, okay,
And
why
so that
did God
baby
not
could
save...
now
Why didn't God not save all of the babies? Because clearly the babies could have become not evil. So why did God not kill everyone else but save all the babies?
He say because they're evil. They were evil seeds.
But you've
evil,
just said though that they can, in post flood, they could have become not evil, right? So those babies had the capacity. Hold on, those babies had the capacity to be not evil post flood. So why did God not let them survive to post flood so that they could choose to be not evil? They were babies.
So you're using the hypothetical comparison of a baby who makes it on a piece of driftwood. That didn't happen in the Bible because the only survivors of the Bible account were 8 human beings, the last people, the last bastion of humanity that could actually choose and wanted to choose and acted on the choice.
But babies can't choose.
Good moral people.
Babies can't choose.
But the babies the parents who had these children who
but
said,
the baby's nothing to do with the parents. The baby isn't evil, and the baby could have survived and become not evil.
They were choosing not to.
Yeah, but the baby you just said that the baby could have become post flood not evil. So why did God allow the babies to die when they could have survived and then been not evil in the future? God's a fucking psychopath if he's real. Gets $1.99 with just a thumbs up. Thank you very much. Selexis for $5 says, yes, Nathan, the technology has come a long way, but the same technology is also used for evil too. Scammers and catfish scammers stealing people's money.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be. It's a choice. Imagine if the internet, if everything on the internet was true because we just wanted to have an information well, we could all be way more knowledgeable about various factoids and everything. But it's literally a choice. We have the ability to, if people chose to not be scammers and stuff, you could open an email and be fine or whatever. Like there are people who do that. So it's choice. And that's part of actually I think why this discussion is important about like the validity of the Bible, cosmology and everything, because what reality really is determines how humanity's course of action is to actually resolve the problems that we face as society, as humanity, as individuals. We can address those things, but we have to have the most accurate to the actual experienced reality that there is. We have to be as close to that. That's our best way of
globe matches reality perfectly.
We have off beliefs, but that's we want to be based in reality as much as possible to try to help deal with the issues.
The irony of you saying that when you follow the Bible and ignore all of science is crazy. It's a Rubik's for $2 says science uses many books and sources, whereas you have one. Yeah, that's true.
The Bible is one source, but books that are like external books that are accurate will not have any conflict with the Bible. Like if a book talks about hygiene, talks about cleaning your hands with running water. The Bible talks about people going into a river and moving water, and in the 1800s, doctors would deliver babies. Work on a dead body, a cadaver. Dip their hands in bloody stagnant water, which was full of bacteria, and then go deliver a baby, and then the mom and the baby were lost their life. And this was
God could stop that. God could remove bacteria, but he chooses not to. Jiffy Jiffle $2 says, I can't stay too long, work and such. Love your bike. Thank you, Jiffy. I love you too. Jay Walkin $5.99 says, Nathan is wrong on so many levels. God is flat and the earth is infallible. Bless him. I think that's just a joke.
You got a couple of those words mixed around, but you're very close to accurate. If you switch those words around, the earth is flat and God is infallible. So I can correct that for you. They're your words, but that's accurate statement right there. Huh?
Vic, member for 14 months. I guess I've eaten enough word salad that this is my last word supper. Boomch. The Turtle Moves £5. Does Nathan go to church, or do you just follow a religious Papa Flerf?
I don't have a physical home church or anything. I've gone to a few here and there. I would like to go to churches to talk with pastors, especially about cosmology, and are they willing to stand behind what the Bible says, or go towards a secular worldview? But like, church is not needed. You can read the word for yourself. We have it. That's why, and that's actually one thing too about like the King James version and everything, and the king who wants to alter it and keep that. There was a movement to try to keep people from having access to the Bible, and they didn't want people to read it. So in these dark ages and everything, in medieval times, when people would be found with a Bible, they would be burned. But not just them; the Bible would be burned as well. And before the printing press, you would have to handwrite everything, special leather paper and everything. It was difficult, and so the mass production capability of printing was what allowed us to have mass circulate Bibles, and that's where you were able. Then they couldn't just get rid of the word. They had to try to co-opt it and do like co-intel pro and leading your opposition, masquerading. And that's actually Lucifer is described as the angel of light who masquerades, and that's the deception, the globe that can infiltrate all of us and fool even the elect. That's why there are Christians. There's nothing, you're not, it's not wrong.
That was a lot of
Christian or anything to believe in the globe.
So the Turtle Moves asked you, do you know what the Bible says the value of pi is?
So it talks about pi with the like tub or something like that. And so that the pi value, the 3.14, could be the external of the cup. But then if
here's the thing: the Bible says the pi. Yeah, but that's the thing. The Bible actually says that pi is 3, not 3.141. So 1 Kings 7:23. Then he made the sea of cast metal circular in shape, measuring 10 cubits from rim to rim and 5 cubits high. It took a line of 30 cubits to measure around it. According to this description, the diameter rim to rim is 10 cubits and the circumference is 30 cubits. Circumference equals pi times diameter, which would mean that mathematically, according to that measurement of a circle, pi is 3. If it was correct, then the diameter should be 31.4 cubits, but the Bible literally describes pi as being 3. So, I mean, that's just a big problem, really.
So if you measure, if you have this object that has these dimensions, you could have 3.14 if you measure the very outside rim.
No. Whatever rim you measured, it still came to 3, because any of the diameters you measured versus the circumference with pi came to 3. It doesn't change based on which diameter you use. That circle that was created would have had pi equaling 3. Whatever diameter and circumference you used, pi would have been 3.
Well, if you measure the outside of the circle, like if you were going to draw that,
it doesn't matter if you do the outside or the inside. If you do the inside, that's right. Yeah, but if you do the outside or the inside, that's different circumferences, and you do the math, and then it still works out that pi is 3. Any of those circumferences, you could have an infinite amount of circumferences, but with the measurements that there were, it would have meant that pi was 3.
They're talking about measuring the outside, but then when they talk about the volume, that doesn't use the outside.
No, they're not. They're not. They're talking about circumference. They are talking about circumference of the circle. They're not talking about the inside versus the outside. They're just talking about circumference of a circle. And then once you've got a circumference, you can have to scale smaller circumferences, and the pi will still be 3 mathematically. So it's just pointing out that the Bible isn't right in so many things.
I gotta try to figure how to. Let me ask this: if I gave you something with a circumference of 30, and it had thickness to its walls, and we'll say a considerable amount of thickness, the volume would not be readily correlative and relatable to the actual given complete outer diameter, because you wouldn't be factoring in the volume taken up by the
doesn't change what pi would be. if you did the circumference of the inside of the perimeter and did the math based on that versus the diameter, you're still going to get pi equaling 3. That's the point. The circle that was created means that pi is 3. It doesn't matter if you measure the outside or the inside. Any circumference that you measure versus the diameter of it in that circle will still have pi equaling 3. Which is impossible. You cannot have a circle where pi equals 3. It does not exist. But according to what was written in the Bible, pi is 3. So anyway,
I disagree.
You can't disagree. That's what it says.
Think of a way to explain it. I'll try to find a way to show it or something, visualize.
Try and do a video.
But, hey, Craig, I got 9% left here on my phone.
Well, let me quickly see if there's any more questions for you.
Okay.
I don't think. Yeah, there's no actual more questions to it. It's more kind of insults, if anything. So.
Thanks for those. I'd rather, I won't say that.
But I'd like to continue this. Hey, definitely.
I would like, if you got good insults or anything, send them my way. And then maybe you can use it up on me, and then you don't have to say it to anybody else. And I'm sure there are other people who feel like that. It's fine. But what's that, Greg?
So I just got one more they want me to read to you. Eclipse Chris for £5 says, the moon is half lit right now. The half is facing the ground. The earth isn't flat. Stop being willfully ignorant and believing flat earth lies.
Someone could say something, but what's testable and
always matches the globe. Every single time the tests match the globe, dude. Every single time. And that's the amazing
it's
thing.
Like too far or something.
Well, refraction's a thing and part of our model.
Experiment.
Yeah, science isn't. Not everything is scalable in the way that you think. That's not how science works. But anyway, if you need to go because of your battery, I appreciate that's fine. I would like to continue our conversation. I would really like to try and have it more about your flat Earth versus the globe next time, if that's okay.
Yeah, and we can. I do want to thank you for letting me have this. Because I know. It's probably considered, based on your channel name, what you, your topic of preference and everything. So I do thank you for letting it go a little more into the Bible. And to anyone listening, like if you do want to talk about the Bible or have really solid refutation or contradiction or anything in the Bible, please do, reach out, and I'd really be happy to talk.
Do you want to know the main reason I'm
through comments or anything like that? Craig, we could, I'll talk more flat Earth with you, for sure. I did, absolutely. And this is a little bit of a, sorry to kind of like spring this on you here, but I kind of wanted to ask, could I share something that's kind of part of like my school work on your channel? It would just take like a minute.
Yeah, what is it?
So it's heart disease information.
Okay, and it's not anything
it's not medical advice or anything.
Right, it's not anything that YouTube's going to go, that's medical misinformation and give me a strike or anything, is it? Because I have to be very careful with things like that.
Okay, so it's medical. It's not opinion. It's not medical. It's actual medical data. Like doctors, you have used this. Like if you, I don't have my. I can't like pull it up.
Honestly, it sounds like something too close to what YouTube could tag as medical misinformation, even if it's not, which is a hassle that I just can't deal with.
Okay, all right. That's
maybe if I can have a look at it and then I can see if it's appropriate. Maybe next time you come on, we can show it. That's all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I at least say like the Google? Because I was gonna say if you wanted to Google image search something.
Okay.
You can search plant, PLANT, based, BASED, and then angiogram, ANGIOGRAM, and then you'll actually be able to see these like medical results, the data. But if you wanna look into it, and I can talk with you more about it. But yeah, it's we for sure we can do this again, and I'm trying to get one day, hopefully, sooner than later, I'll be at a point where I'm able to be a little more consistent with the social media and everything. But I want to thank you for the discussion, and for anyone who with legitimate questions and everything like that's thanks. Insults, those are fun too. But the progress of better understanding, iron sharpening iron. And I think scrutiny is fair. The Bible calls for it. So anytime you're being skeptical of the Bible, it's being biblical. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but it's good. Being biblical is good. So
do you want to know the reason that I'm not a Christian? The main reason that I'm not a Christian is that I read the Bible a lot. That stopped me being a Christian straight up. Horrific book.
It's
anyway. Thank you very much, Nathan.
Some more study on it too, but.
I'll speak to you soon, all right?
Hey,
Just
thank you very much.
Look out for emails and we'll stay in contact, all right?
Yeah, take care, everybody.
All right, bye. It's like the most cognitive dissonance that you could ever deal with is dealing with people like this that are. I mean, at least MC Toon understands that God can be a bit of a dick sometimes if he is real. I mean, obviously he thinks he's real, And Christians need to fucking admit that shit. Signastep $20 says, this is too stupid fun. Thank and damn you, Craig. Damn me indeed. Well, thank you guys for being here. This has been absolutely incredible tonight. David, $1.99. If God loved everyone, there would be no Flerfs. Yeah, he wouldn't allow them to be that stupid. Spec says, you've had worse cognitive dissonance from Christians than this. I don't know, that was pretty bad. Bitter Truth, £5. God who claimed to be a creator but doesn't know how did he create, isn't that enough to know religion is man-made? All religion's man-made, of course. Sigma Step, $5. Man, Craig really needs to watch A Clockwork Orange. I realised that's what all that was from. I have watched it, years ago. Might watch it again. Sigma Step, $5. I'm sorry to everybody for bringing this God crap up. You're not sorry, but thank you again for the support. PhD Tony, only real man in the room. Winds don't go straight from high pressure to low as viewed from high pressure cell. All high altitude winds, no surface deflect to the right in the north and to the south, to the left in the south, due to Coriolis. Yep. Talking about science with him is hard. He just wanted to preach. Annalise Knapp says, for $2.79 Canadian, I didn't order a Yappuccino, Nathan. Eon Dust, $5 Australian. Like the man who beats their wife when she does something wrong. I don't want this to happen. You made me do this. God is an abuser. Yeah. And they all have Stockholm Syndrome. Signastep, $10. We love Lucy, PhD, Tony, Rachbot, Charlie, Welch, and even you quickly, but not you, Gary. Yeah, I do love every single one of you. Just not you, Gary. I do love you, Gary IOW, though. The Turtle Moose for £2. Nathan doesn't have empathy, he just makes excuses. How can I not see that God's evil? It's crazy. Signastep, $10, says, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. Get out. PhD Tony, $5, Australian. Why did God not accept both Abel and Cain's sacrifices? Because God is a cunt if he is real. That's alright, Saluxis. You are an extremely good supporter of the channel. I appreciate it. Signastep for $20. Thank you, dude. You have been incredibly supportive recently. But where I litty now, oh my brothers, is all oh my oddie knocky. Where you cannot go, tomorrow is like sweet flowers and the turning bonny earth and the stars, old Luna up there, and all that cow. Alright, I'll watch Clockwork Orange again. Lord Luminous Pooh for $5 says, Omniscient, he knows what would convince me. Omnipotent, he can make that just appear. Omnibenevolent, he wants me to believe. Why don't I? Yeah. If God had the ability to make everyone believe, then no one would go to hell. And that would be good, but no. God wants people to go to hell, apparently. Eon Dust, $5, Australian. Why did God put me in the body of a man with the mind of a woman? Is it fun for God to psychologically torture me and others like me? It's crazy. There's so many things, like, the human brain does not work the way it's supposed to sometimes. It's stupid. You know, and people that are trans, they're in their head, they are the other gender, and you know, they have to live in a body. Why not mix the mind, match the mind and the body if you're God? No. Signal Step, $10. The Broncos lost to the Chiefs today. That proves no God exists. Sport Ball, let's go. Signal Step for $5 says, Ragebot makes me happy, me too. Extremely. Odin's Rage for $5 Canadian. If you feel like passing it along, this is for the Muppet to your right to get a bloody haircut. That was crazy, wasn't it? But no, I'm keeping the money. BBT FRG Ballistic Ball for £2 says, God is only dog spelt backwards anyway. I know. And here's the thing, right? Nathan's almost as atheist as I am. Because there's like, let's say 3,000 gods on Earth. I don't believe in 3,000 gods. Nathan doesn't believe in 2,999. We're very, very close. Lord Illuminous Poo for $2 says, please explain Exodus 21, Nate. Oh shit, I didn't see that one, I'm sorry. He couldn't, he just makes excuses. CJ Lamerix for $5. Yes, it is said if those hardcore killers repent, they can get into the promised land. Explain this, Nathan. Yeah, you just go and say, oh, I didn't mean to do it, please forgive me. Well, great, I'm in. Bitter Truth for $2. Flood happens several times, but any sacrifice, Noah. Zoomy Tomato for £2 says, I can make you laugh with 2 words. Rave babies, get out. No. Bad. Signal Step, $5. I'm old, but I would totally try to rave with Zoomy Tomato. Yeah, totally. Big fish, little fish, cardboard box. Bitter Truth, $2. Whoa, Noah was evil, his son disobey. Odin's... Oh my goodness, it skipped. Guys, you've sent me so many super chats, it's made my screen freak out. Odin's Rage, $10 Canadian, and I heard, as it were, the noise of stupid. One of the horde beasts sang, holy feck, and we wept. All words from the stupid brought naughty but lunacy in Greg. Thanks for that. Come on, super chat buttons. Jiffy Jiffwold for $5 says, the Bible talks about unicorns, talking snakes, talking donkeys, and talking burning bushes. It's as accurate as Stevie Wonder would be as a sniper. You're not wrong. Signal Step, $5. Craig McNeil is my 11th favourite person ever. Hey, I'm not even fucking top 10. What the hell is this? Look, if this is how you support your 11th favourite person ever, I'm happy being your 11th favourite person ever. But you know what, Signal Step? You're my 9th favourite person ever. Jiffy Diffwold gifted 5 memberships because he is fucking awesome. And you guys are just insanely generous. Oh, you know what? I heard that Dave, Flat Earth Dave, Dearth, I've heard he might be a scammer.
Yo, listen up, it's your boy Birch in the his house. Boy, plan so slick, gonna make your pockets this house. I got an app that's gonna change your life, but before you download, let me slice through the strife. They say the earth's a globe, but I beg to differ. I'll make you believe, I'll make you shiver. Spectroscopy needs a container, that's my claim. I've got no clue, I just hang my head in shame. Yo, listen up, it's your boy Dirt H in the his house. That's the horse house. Got a plan so slick, gonna make your pockets this house. I got an app that's gonna change your life, but before you download, let me slice through the strife. They say the earth's a globe, but I beg to differ. I'll make you believe, I'll make you shiver. Spectroscopy needs a container, that's my claim. I've got no clue, I just hang my head in shame. But that's the light I'm preaching. So my app is what I'm seeking. Fake challenge, try your luck. While I'm laughing, pocketing a buck. I'm a scam.
I'm a scammer.
I'm a scammer.
I'm a scammer.
Flat Earth, that's the lie I'm preaching. Sell my app, it's what I'm seeking. Fake challenge, try your luck. While I'm laughing, pocketing a buck. I'm a scammer.
I'm a scammer.
I'm a scammer.
I'm a scammer.
Yo,
Dave
Dave
Weiss
Weiss
is
is
a
a scammer. Talk about Antarctica, the icy place. Offered a free trip, dangled it in my face, but I won't go. It's not about thrift. I'm staying home, gotta protect my grift. I'm a scammer. I'm a scammer. Yo, Dave Weiss is a scammer. Talk about Antarctica, that icy place. Offered a free trip, dangled it in my face, but I won't go, it's not about thrift. I'm staying home, gotta protect my grip. I'm a scammer. Antarctica, that icy place. Offered a free trip, dangled it in my face, but I won't go, it's not about thrift. I'm staying home, gotta protect my grip. I'm a scammer. The scammer, I play the game. Gonna hustle hard, gonna rise to fame. But remember one thing, it's all a ploy to make that green, I'll be your decoy. So if you wanna join, come take my hand. But beware the tricks, it's all planned. T-I-T-R-H, that's my name. In the world of scams, I got the fame.
I'm a scammer.
Yeah, bro, it's your boy Austin Whitford in the house. Big brain, big words, and a small dose of doubt. Left that six-figure grind to educate the blind. Spitting flat facts, if you don't look close, they almost rhyme.
IQ 160, but I don't do math. I guess a good job to go walk a flat path. AuditNASA.com, I got a DIY site. Cause if you squint hard enough, the truth looks right. I got loud at Rushmore, preaching flat earth lore. Cops shut me down, said man, we've heard this before. Yeah, they cuffed me up, tossed me in the van. Guess the world's flat, but the law still stands. Audit NASA, they're hiding the truth, bro. Global, even sheep don't wanna know. Got no proof, but I'm shouting real loud. IQ on max while I puzzle the crowd. Left six figures behind cause you know I'm woke. Now I live off the truth and donations from blokes. Flerfs ain't easy, but someone's gotta speak. Even if my science barely holds for a week, I toss out facts like gravity's a fraud. Cause water's flat, bro, it's not that hard. I sound like a scholar, but I'm guessing the terms just like science class, always skip to learn. Yeah, it's lonely at the top with my genius head, living in my own world while the globe turns red. When logic comes knocking, I'm quick to deflect. Bro, I'm a master at dodging, cause and effect. Audit NASA, they're hiding the truth, bro. Global, even sheep don't wanna know. Got no proof, but I'm shouting real loud. IQ on max while I puzzle the crowd. I talk think about proof, but my proof is weak. Got my PhD from YouTube University's peak. I call it a grift, nah, I mean a mission. Proudly repping that flat ignorance condition. Friends think I'm crazy, the rest think I'm dense, but I call them lost sheep while I cash in the sense. I'm lost in Winston, bro, call me the Flerf king. With theory so thin, they barely got a ring. So maybe next up, I'll flip my pitch. Geocentrism's back, bro, let's get rich. Flat's getting stale, need a new act. Gonna say the sun standing still, matter of fact. Yeah, when flats run dry, got another gig. Earth center of it all, might just make it big. Austin Winston, keeping cash in sight. The earth ain't moving, but I'll spin all night. Bro, I'm just saying, I'll pivot and spin. IQ high, but that logic runs thin. Audit NASA was fun, but I need fresh views. Next stop, stationary Earth for the clueless few.
You wait till you see the music video for that, guys. Gonna be banging. Thank you everybody for watching. I will be back tomorrow, possibly with facts, if not with something else. See you all then. I really appreciate the level of support I've been getting lately, guys. It's absolutely mental. No Signal Step, thank you. Your support literally is ridiculous lately. sure that you've stolen someone's credit card or something, but I'm not. I don't know. But thank you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Remember, stupidity's not a right. Fight the flat Earth.
Fight the flat. 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 Fight the flat.
Hi, my name is Nathan Oakley, and I have been lying to people about the Earth being flat for a lot of years. I did this to hide the fact I have a small penis.
I'm a dumb flat earther, and I don't understand science.
Level.
You know, I want to be a urinator. This morning, I went to the toilet.
I'm masturbating.
When I was a young boy, I grew up on the farm. I'm a country boy. And I used to fuck the cows and the pigs. I used to fuck the pigs, and the cows would come, and I would pat them and look into their eyes. Pigs look gorgeous, and cows are beautiful. I love the look of cows.
Level.